This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, there it was, day one, the full day one of the Donald Trump presidency. Yesterday, his first full 24-hour day in office, and he didn't disappoint. Yes, he was a dictator on day one. He did what he said he would do, promises made, promises kept. I'm not sure when the man sleeps, if at all, but he continued his barrage of executive orders. He continued to do exactly what he said he would do. While you were sleeping, Donald Trump ended DEI in the federal government. Donald Trump revoked, let me make sure I get this right, Lyndon Johnson's executive order 11246 from 1965. No more affirmative action in the federal government. This is just wonderful. No more racial discrimination in hiring in the federal government. He said he would do it. He did it. That was just one thing he did on day one, full day. He also ordered no more flags other than the American flag to fly over federal buildings. So you will no longer see the pride flag. You won't no longer see the BLM flag flying over federal buildings. That is a wonderful thing. That's what people want. That's what Trump voters want. They are ecstatic. I am ecstatic. You wake up each day now, get online, turn on your TV, turn on your computer, and just sit and bask in this wonderful reformation. We are taking our country back one step at a time. We have seen over the last 4 years utter insanity where the Democrats, the Biden regime, have turned Martin Luther King's message on its head. We no longer judge people on the content of their character. It was all about the color of their skin, who they sleep with, what box they checked. We saw it in action at the highest level, and it was a disaster. We watched Karine Jean-Pierre stumble and bumble through one press conference after another. We watched the utter disaster that was Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Rachel Levine, all these box checkers who didn't get their jobs on merit, who didn't earn it, who had no real qualifications, who were just chosen because of their race or ethnicity or sexuality. And most of the country looked at this and said, how did we get here? Why did we get here? What is going on here? And we worried if Kamala Harris had somehow won or Joe Biden had stayed upright and stayed in the Oval Office, it would continue and it would get deeper and harder to turn back. Well, it's over. It's over. No longer do federal offices make their decisions based on race. Hopefully this will trickle down to the state level and to the private sector, and it won't matter what race you are or who you sleep with. Merit is making a comeback. That, to me, in Trump's speech on Monday, his inaugural speech, his spectacular inaugural speech, the inauguration, it was all about common sense, things that make sense, things that people want to see return, like two genders, only two genders. And everyone's like, yeah, of course. And we're going to make decisions based on merit. How can you celebrate the excellence, the exceptionalism of a country if at the highest level, people are making decisions based on immutable characteristics? It was insane then, it's insane now, and it is over. And he focused on the right things on day one. Hell, he focused on everything on day one. But this is just a wonderful development. The Laken Riley Act may pass today, may be the first bill to pass in Trump 2.0, which is a great thing. Illegal aliens who commit crimes will be removed from the country. Who doesn't want that? I mean, other than Democrats in Congress and in the Senate, other than my elected representatives, who doesn't want public safety threats removed from their communities? Yeah, I have yet to hear a good case against that, even though everybody in the blue states, every mayor, almost every rep, every senator wants that. They want public safety threats to live among us. Well, Trump is moving forward. Tom Homan has begun removing these people from our communities, and it is a great thing. We have yet to see a showdown between Tom Homan and mayor and some blue state governor or mayor, but Tom Homan this morning explained that the operation has begun. In fact, he put a number on it. He said they've already removed 308 violent illegal aliens from our communities. How does anyone have a problem with that? How can anybody not stand up and applaud this wonderful man for the job he's already begun to do? Let's watch. This is this morning, Tom Homan telling you how they have hit the ground running and they've already begun to do what people want done in their neighborhoods. Go ahead.
What would a person have to do to get a visit from ICE?
For it to be in the country illegally, first of all, I mean, there's nothing in the immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime to be removed under the INA. So if you're in the country illegally, ICE can visit you. But right now, as we said repeatedly, and the President Trump's been clear, we're concentrating on the worst first, the public safety threats and national security threats. And just yesterday, in the last 24 hours, ICE arrested over 308 serious criminals. Some of them were murderers. Some of them were rapists. Some of them raped a child. Some were sexual assault of a child. So ICE is doing their job. And they're prioritizing just as the president said they would. So the ICE is performing excellent right now out in the field. And they're going to continue every day.
Yes, that's what we want to hear. That's what we want to see done. That was the promise made by Donald Trump, and that has begun. They're removing public safety threats. You heard them. Murderers, rapists, people who sexually assaulted children, and Democrats are vowing to stand in his way. You go with that, Mayor Wu. You run with that, Brandon Johnson. Why don't you get in his way? Try to stop him. That's what we need. That's what I want to see more than anything. One of these mornings, I want to wake up and see a Democrat mayor in handcuffs for attempting to stop ICE from doing its job. All right, we got so much to get to on this day 3 of Trump 2.0, and it's just so exciting. I have to admit, it's like waiting for a Super Bowl or waiting for a big national championship game when your team is in the game. Yes, our team is in the game. Team Trump going to work. It started yesterday a little rough. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance attended a service at St. John's Cathedral in D.C. This is a tradition, and he is upholding the traditions. He showed up with his wife. Trump and Vance brought their wives and families, and they were there in the front row. And if you missed this, I got a little quarrel with Trump's advance team, who didn't vet the bishop. Here is Bishop Marianne Buddy, who is the top cleric in St. John's Episcopal Church. They sat down for a nice service on their first full day, probably relaxing after a crazy, frenetic day one. Day two begins with not a sermon, with a lecture, with this miserable woman scolding the new president and the new vice president to their faces about she's begging them to show mercy for illegal aliens and LGBTQ children who fear for their safety. Could you explain that? Why, lady? Tell me why. Why should an LGBTQ child, by the way, there's no such thing as a transgender child. Could we just stop that? But they fear for their safety. Why? Could you explain why? What? Trump's the most pro-LGBTQ president we've ever seen. He doesn't boast and brag about it and hire people based on their sexuality, but he has no problem with it. He never has. The idea that he's coming for LGBTQ kids is absurd, but this woman is absurd. This is the Episcopal Church. Many churches these days, this is what they're like. They're the little woke places run by crazy woke radicals who don't really. I mean, this woman doesn't really believe in what she's saying. She doesn't believe in the scripture. She's just a left-wing activist. I walk around the city of Boston, run around the city of Boston all the time. You don't see a church, at least not an Episcopal church or most Protestant churches, that don't have pride flags and BLM signs and people like this miserable woman who never missed the opportunity to lecture anybody who wants to, remove illegal aliens from their community or get transgender flags out of elementary schools. She's all in. She's no different from Rachel Maddow or Joy Reid or all the rest of them. They're losing and they can't handle it. But here she is lecturing our new president. Go ahead.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some
No, there aren't.
who fear for their lives.
Fear for their lives?
You people, the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens.
It's racist.
Or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
Yeah, they are.
They pay taxes and are
I know.
workers. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples.
Sure. Yeah. So the
I ask
illegal aliens are faithful members of our temples. First of all, they're why do they fear for their lives, lady? Could you explain that? Who's coming to kill them? I mean, honest to God. Secondly, I love this angle from woke Democrats that we shouldn't remove illegal aliens because they're washing our dishes. She actually says that they're washing our dishes, picking our crops, cleaning our offices. So that's the way she looks at illegal aliens. If you remove them from our community, who's going to clean my office? Who's going to wash my dishes? Does she, to quote J.D. Vance, who, by the way, is giving her the side-eye look. The looks on J.D. Vance's face were the best, but
He's not too happy.
no. And you know what? They don't have to go back. They're done with this place, and they should be. And this was a disgrace. I can't believe Trump's team looked at her. I mean, all you got to do is Google search this woman, and you find out what a radical nut job she is and how much she hates Trump. I can't believe they didn't do a little advance work and say Ixnay on the Urch today. No more of this. Here she is a couple of years ago. Yes, this is the bishop, of course. She's got the purple thing there, and she's got a mask, and she's out on the streets protesting after George Floyd OD'd while resisting arrest in Minnesota, and the whole country went nuts. She was leading the charge in our nation's capital. Here is the woman who was allowed to give Donald Trump and J.D. Vance a lecture yesterday. Go ahead.
Why did you want to come out here and send
their message? It is a message of a call for justice, for swift justice for George Floyd, for systemic justice for all brown and black people who have been under the knee of this country in ways that we have witnessed time and again. This is wrong. And this rising up, this spontaneous uprising of people, mostly half my age or younger, they're the ones we should be listening to.
And they're angry at the president.
They're so angry.
They're angry at the president. So what is your message to President Trump today?
Well, I've given up speaking to President Trump. We need to replace President Trump. We need leadership that will lead us in the ways that this country deserves.
Thank you.
I am done with President Trump. We must remove him. That woman was allowed to deliver the sermon, the lecture to Donald Trump. Again, she is what she is. She's a total lunatic. She's a typical Episcopalian cleric, minister, bishop. That's the way they think. That's why no one goes to church anymore. There's this great kind of dichotomy, this paradox when you think about it. People who think like that, generally, for the most part, they're not really religious. They're not spiritual. They don't believe in God. They believe in climate change. They believe in mutilating children. That flies in the face of all the teachings of traditional churches, whatever the denomination. So you have someone who clearly doesn't believe in the faith, and she's in charge of the church. She runs the church right next to the White House. Does anyone really think that she believes in the word of God? You can't do both. You can't believe in mutilating children and climate change and also believe in the faith. It just doesn't work that way. But this is how it works now in these churches, and this is why nobody is going to them. They are bleeding congregants, and it will continue. I'm pretty sure Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and their family members will not be back in the pews in the front row of St. John's Cathedral to listen to this wretched woman lecture them again. But hey, Trump spoke of it afterwards, just quickly said, it wasn't very exciting, he said. And then he posted, of course, on Truth Social. I believe this was, when was this? Late night? 10 o'clock?
12:30 a.m. We're back.
12:30 a.m. Unbelievable. Donald J. Trump on Truth Social, the so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday, was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal immigrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a giant crime wave that is taking place in the USA. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was very boring and uninspiring. She's not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology. They're not going to apologize. It's what they believe. Again, it's not really a church or a congregation. It's a cult. That woman is no different from Joy Reid or Joy Behar or any of the radicals who just hate everything Trump represents and believe in the church of climate change and transgenderism. And they are broken. She is a broken, miserable, angry, unhappy woman, and Trump has just ruined her. And it's great to see. It's great to see. And good news is, Donald, you get to sleep in next Sunday. if you ever, I don't think you ever do that, but you get to go play golf or something next Sunday. You don't have to go listen to her ever again. So, all right, we got so much to get to. There's just so much happening. Honest to God, it is just an exciting time. The Democrats have finally found her. They've found the new Christine Blasey Ford. They are going to attempt to smear, slander, and stop Pete Hegseth. And this is about as scummy and despicable as you'd expect. And of course, NBC is leading the charge. We'll tell you about the latest on Pete Hegseth. And I think we could say, without a doubt, that that Elon Musk has broken AOC. She's still running with the Nazi stuff. She still wants you to believe Elon Musk, who is a great friend to Israel, is a Nazi. And of course, as we predicted, we got AOC doing what she calls the Sig Heil, the Sig Heil salute. Yes, AOC, just like Barack Obama and Liz Warren and Kamala Harris, AOC did the Sig Heil. So I guess she's a Nazi too. We'll tell you about that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Ring in the new year with new rewards at Golden Nugget Online Casino. Right now, new players can play just $5 and get 250 casino spins on a featured game with promo code Newsmax. That's 250 chances to win on us after you play just $5 or more. Don't wait. The best rewards and the brightest moments are waiting at Golden Nugget Online Casino. Whether you're spinning slots, doubling down on blackjack, playing roulette, or any of our exclusive games you can't find anywhere else, make any moment golden with Golden Nugget Online Casino this year.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please play responsibly. 21 and over. Physically present in Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia only. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Non-withdrawable casino spins valid for Jinshi, Baoshi, Endless Treasures only and expire in 168 hours. See terms at goldennuggetcasino.com/promos. Ends at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on February 23rd, 2025.
All right, Marco Rubio is your new Secretary of State. He passed the Senate 99-0. So most of Trump's nominees will be confirmed. It's good to see them start with Marco Rubio. We knew that would be an easy one. Marco then immediately said his priority was removing DEI from the State Department. So he's on board. That's good to see. But they're going to focus all their guns on Pete Hegseth, at least until RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard get hearings. And as we saw, they're coming after Hegseth with everything they got, talking about excessive drinking and womanizing, and obviously running with all the fake news that they can come up with. Again, every single accusation against Pete Hegseth up to this point has been anonymous. Every accusation of drinking at work, of sexual abuse, all of it was anonymous sources. They did not have a Christine Blasey Ford, a crisis actor, to attempt to stop Hegseth until now. Of course, NBC has the story, but it's remarkable the way they are covering this. They have a woman, his former sister-in-law, who accuses him of being abusive to his second wife. Here's the story from NBC. They got 3 people on it. Senators received an affidavit Tuesday from the former sister-in-law of Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth, in which she says his behavior caused his second wife to fear for her safety. The receipt of the affidavit comes after the Senate Armed Services Committee staffers were in contact with Hegseth's former sister-in-law for several days. Her name is Danielle Hegseth, although Pete's lawyer says her name is no longer Hegseth, but they're running with that. They gave the affidavit to Senator Jack Reed, seeking, quote, a statement attesting to your personal knowledge about Hegseth's fitness to occupy this important position. She went into detail that she knew of, quote, instances of abuse and threats of abuse against Hegseth's former wife. Let me see how long it takes them to get down to the part where Hegseth's former wife says, her name is Samantha Hegseth, says, this never happened. This is not true. She describes allegations of volatile and threatening conduct by Hegseth that made Samantha fear for her life. Wait. Among the allegations is that Samantha hid in a closet and developed an escape plan because she, quote, felt she needed to get away from Hegseth. Wait. Let me keep looking. An email. Oh, here we go. In an email response, Samantha Hegseth says, first and foremost, I have not and will not comment on my marriage to Pete Hegseth. Where does she get to the part? I do not believe your information to be accurate. I've CC'd my lawyer. There was no physical abuse in my marriage. This is the only statement I will make. I'm not speaking anymore about my marriage to Pete. Respect my decision. So buried in the story, of course, is the ex-wife saying this never happened. But the ex-sister-in-law says Pete Hegseth is unfit for the office of Secretary of Defense. We knew this was coming. They're going to pull out all the stops and make up all the stories. This is what they did to Brett Kavanaugh. This is how they used Christine Blasey Ford. They failed then. Hopefully they will fail now. But let's listen to MSNBC or NBC report this story. Go ahead.
Affidavit containing new allegations against Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth. NBC's Julie Sirkin helped break this story. She joins us now. What more can you tell us?
Well, Chris, this is significant because for the first time, we are hearing on the record of somebody who spoke directly with Samantha Hegseth during the time in which she was married to Pete Hegseth, who shared concerns fearing for her safety. I'm talking about Danielle Hegseth. She's the former sister-in-law to both Samantha and Pete Hegseth. She says in this copy of this affidavit, a redacted version, quote, "I have chosen to come forward publicly at significant personal sacrifice because I am deeply concerned by what Hegseth's confirmation would mean for our military and our country." She adds that part of her reason, and this is so significant, Chris, for coming forward is because I have been assured that making this public statement will ensure that certain senators who are still on the fence will vote against Hegseth's confirmation. But for that insurance, I would not subject myself or others referred to in this statement to the public scrutiny this statement is likely to cause. This has been the culmination of days of work from committee staffers on the Armed Services Committee who have been first in touch with somebody with secondhand knowledge of these allegations. Then they were directly in touch with Danielle Hegseth. This was a work in progress to get her to come forward. Reid, who is the top Democrat on the panel that was considering Hegseth's nomination, he actually sent Danielle Hegseth a letter over the weekend that we have obtained asking her to detail any examples of abuse or threatening conduct from Pete Hegseth toward any of his ex-wives. And now we have this result, which is this affidavit, which is currently being viewed by some senators. This has just started to happen after we've obtained a redacted version of this affidavit. And
she's so excited. First of all, what is she, 16 years old? This reporter, that doesn't matter, but she's so excited. Finally, we have somebody on the record. Well, again, buried deep in this story, Hegseth's lawyer, Tim Parlator, says Samantha has never alleged that there was any abuse. She signed court documents acknowledging that there was no abuse and reaffirmed the same during an FBI interview. Danielle Dietrich, he calls her, is an anti-Trump far-left Democrat who's divorced from Hegseth's brother and never got along with the Hegseth family. After an acrimonious divorce, Ms. Dietrich had an axe to grind against the entire Hegseth family. She admits she saw nothing, but is now falsely accusing Sam of lying to the court and to the FBI. So the wife says none of this happened, but they don't care. This woman, who's no longer part of the family, says she's concerned of what his confirmation, what will happen to the Defense Department. Why? What will happen? This is amazing. They will stop at nothing. This is all about Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Mitch McConnell. They need to convince 3 squishy Republicans, 4 actually, because J.D. Vance has the tie-breaking vote. And it might work because Susan Collins and Murkowski are pathetic, and Mitch McConnell is pathetic, and he hates Trump. It might work. This whole thing, you know what it's about? One Republican senator. Obviously, all the Democrats will scream, and Liz Warren and Jack Reed will say he's not fit, but so what? They were not going to vote to confirm him no matter what. They have already decided it was over from the beginning. Tim Kaine, that hobo Tim Kaine, we knew he wasn't going to vote to confirm Pete Hegseth. So their goal is to get one Republican senator to flip, and they're going to use this and hammer this. And it's no different from Brett Kavanaugh. This woman's she's a Democrat who wants to stop Hegseth, and she's making this up. And his ex-wife said she's making it up. And they had a bad marriage. They got divorced. He cheated. We know that. But I'm not sure if she's going to testify, but she sounds like she's all in. This is going to get ugly. He made it through the subcommittee 14-13. So obviously it's along party lines, and it will remain along party lines. And if the Democrats controlled the Senate, he would have no shot. But hopefully Republicans stand strong, because Pete Hegseth is the guy. He's just the guy they need. And he's going to do he's going to do what Trump wants. He's going to do what the voters want. He's going to shake up the Pentagon. He's going to get rid of the DEI. He's going to fire these woke generals, these bureaucrats in the Defense Department. And we will see. It's going to get ugly when he goes before the whole Senate, but hopefully Republicans will stand strong because Pete is the guy, and you can't just give up, give in, let these people win. All right, speaking of winning, I'm pretty sure Musk won. AOC is a basket case at this point. This is the, essentially, at this point, the leader of the Democrat Party, AOC. She's the voice, the face of the Democrat Party moving forward. And I guess it's good she's not 90 years old, something different. I don't think she has dementia, but she's a moron. And she is sticking with this silly narrative that Elon Musk, because he stuck his arm in the air, Elon Musk, who's kind of awkward, socially awkward, and makes lots of strange hand gestures, arm gestures, pounded his chest and told the crowd he loved them. That to her means he's Hitler. Yes. A man who visited Auschwitz with Ben Shapiro, who visited Israel, who supports Israel as much as anybody, who is a great friend of Israel. That guy, she wants you to believe, is a Nazi. Stick with that, AOC. I think it's working. Let's watch this lunatic just come unhinged when discussing the fake news that Musk is a Nazi. Go ahead.
A foundational defining thing. Two of probably the most foundational defining things about people may be on today, but I still am not rocking with anyone sympathetic to Nazis. And I will do that until I am 6 feet in the ground, like kind of foundational to me as a human being. And so if you're cool and want to defend the Sig Heils and the Nazi salutes, all the, you know, whatever you want to do, that's on you. I'm on the opposite side of that. I'm not with the Nazis. How about that? I mean, but it's very important for us to assert these things, because in times like now, what people want is for all of us to just give up. They want all of us to just give up and say, America's gone to hell in a handbasket and we're done. And just let them do what they're going to do. No, if there are no good people left in the world, I want to be the last one. And that's the ethos every single one of us can take.
Oh my God, Sig Heil. He made the Sig Heil. So just to remind you, AOC represents New York City. Her district is in New York City. Actual Nazis, Hamas supporters, anti-Semites, people who, here she is. I mean, Sig Heil, AOC, Sig Heil, giving the Nazi salute at a rally. She never says a word about the people who march in the streets of New York City calling for the death of Jews, the destruction of Israel. Yesterday, on the campus of Columbia, Hamas supporters stormed classrooms, threatened Jewish students. Not a word from AOC. They raped women, hostages. They killed women. They killed babies. And she condemns none of it. She is such a fraud. She's such a moron. And again, there she is. There's Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, and AOC giving the Sig Heil salute. Even if you thought it would work, let's paint Musk a Nazi. Let's pretend Musk's a Nazi. Nobody believes it. Nobody actually thinks. I mean, I don't care what he did with his arm. Nobody thinks Elon Musk is a Nazi. Nobody thinks that was purposeful, deliberate, a call to all the Nazis. It's just so ridiculous and laughable that you spend your time, you're a congresswoman, you spend your time making a video accusing Musk of being a Nazi when everybody knows, you included, you are a moron, but you're not that dumb. You know he's not. But you think you can get traction because you think your supporters are as dumb as you are. It's just an amazing way to spend your time, spend your day trying to convince people that they're standing with a Nazi. Not me. I'm one of the good people. I don't stand with the Nazis. Oh, they're marching in the streets with Hamas flags, calling for the death of Jews? Oh, that's just free speech, you know. That's just people standing against genocide. Those aren't anti-Semites. No. But Musk, yeah, he hates Jews. God, you go with that. The meltdown from the left is just going to be glorious to watch for the next 4 years. I can't tell you how much I'm going to enjoy it. Watching these people just lose their minds is going to be so much fun. And that's the best thing, that Trump does not care this time. He might have cared last time a little bit too much about, getting along, about placating the media, his critics. No more. Here's Liz Warren this morning. It's been 24 hours since Trump was sworn in. Instead of honoring his campaign promise to focus on bringing down costs, he's doubling down on revenge, division, and cruelty. He's cozying up to billionaires, and he's showing what we can expect for the next 4 years. So he's in office for one full day, and he didn't bring down costs. All he did was focus on removing illegal alien murderers and rapists. How cruel. He got rid of racist policies in the federal government. That's just revenge and division. You know what, Lizzie, you don't matter anymore. You have no power anymore. Just sit back and enjoy it. I know I will, but I want to get back to these commutations because the media is losing their minds. The J6ers are free, all of them. Trump kept his promise and gave a blanket pardon, but that's not the thing that concerns me. It's the Biden pardons. I got some questions about these Biden pardons. Why would you give a preemptive pardon to anybody? Why? Other than they're guilty. Could someone come up with a reason why you would give a blanket pardon? And I have another question. What if we found out that one of these people, Mark Milley, Anthony Fauci, committed just a heinous crime? I think we might. What happens then? They're free to go because Joe Biden wanted to stick it to Donald Trump on his way out the door. We'll get to that. And Ironhead labeled it the death of comedy. We have another broken, lost soul, Stephen Colbert. Yes, Stephen Colbert is not going to make it 4 more years. He's not going to make it through this Trump term. Just no chance. He has just fallen apart, and it's glorious. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
So how are the New Year's resolutions coming? We all make them, Some of us stick with them. Some of us don't. You want to lose weight, get in shape, get your finances in order. I promise to read more books. I'm trying. Each new year is an opportunity to reflect and plan for the future, like setting career goals, making financial moves, and most importantly, ensuring your family is always taken care of no matter what happens. Make this the year you check the life insurance box off your list and protect your family's future with Policy Genius. Policy Genius makes finding and buying life insurance simple, so you can ensure your loved ones have a financial safety net to cover debts and routine expenses, or even to invest the money to earn interest over time. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are 100% online and let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. Do you know 40% of people wish they got life insurance at a younger age? Compare quotes from America's top insurers side by side for free with no hidden fees. The licensed support team helps you get what you need fast so you can get on with your life. They answer questions, handle paperwork, and advocate for you throughout the process. Life insurance is a form of financial planning. Secure your family's future tomorrow so you have peace of mind today. Head to policygenius.com to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com. A good point by Rudy on the chat line. Fetterman might vote for Hegseth. We'll see. Fetterman's he's unpredictable. He is a apostate. The Democrats aren't going to be happy, but he might vote for all of Trump's nominees. That'll be interesting because they're going to lose some Republicans. They're going to lose some of these squishes that are only concerned with what the media will say about them. All right, what the media is saying about Trump's pardons of the J6ers is what a disgrace. We can no longer, Trump and Republicans can no longer say they support law enforcement because some of these people assaulted cops. I'm going to go over this again because it is annoying. Again, these people are ill-informed. They didn't follow all these January 6 cases. They didn't read Julie Kelly. They didn't watch Greg Kelly cover this day in and day out. What the Biden DOJ, what Merrick Garland and his henchmen in the DOJ did to these people was despicable. Trump, he doesn't explain it well. I admit, Trump was asked about it yesterday, and he doesn't make the case. I wish someone else could stand up there and explain what they did to the January 6th defendants. First of all, the people who assaulted cops, small minority. 1,500 plus people were pardoned, maybe 100. Maybe 200 people actually assaulted cops or broke anything. So most of the people he pardoned did nothing. They walked through the Capitol. Some of them prayed, and some of them just kind of hung out, sauntered in the Capitol, and they came down on them and tried to destroy their lives. In many cases, they did destroy their lives. Five J6 defendants killed themselves because of the hell Merrick Garland and Joe Biden put them through. These people's lives, they lost their homes, their jobs, their families. They lost everything fighting these charges. Nobody could say that they got a fair trial. None of them got a fair trial. The ones who assaulted cops, for the most part, just did 4 years in just the most horrific conditions in prison. They were abused and held in solitary confinement. 4 years. In Biden's America, how many, George Floyd rioters, how many people who attacked cops? A reminder, during the George Floyd rioters, 2,000 cops were injured. Joe Biden and Merrick Garland dropped the charges against almost all George Floyd rioters, violent rioters who assaulted cops. They didn't care about cops then. Suddenly they care about cops now. Capitol Hill cops, well, those people were punished. They did hard time. They paid huge fines. They lost everything. They lost their businesses, their jobs. If you followed the stories, if you followed the cases of these people, it was all political. There was no equal justice under the law. And yes, some of them walked free after assaulting cops, but they just did 4 years in prison. Seems about right to me. But most of them did not hurt cops. Most of them did not break things. Most of them did nothing. A woman joined Laura Ingraham last night and explained what the prosecutors, what the DOJ did to her. Most of these people were forced to take deals because if they went before a DC jury with a Democrat prosecutor, they had no shot. Nobody beat the rap. Nobody went to trial and was acquitted. It didn't happen. It wasn't going to happen. They knew it. They knew they held all the cards, and they forced people to take deals and go to prison and pay huge fines for doing nothing. Listen to what they did to this woman.
Well, I'm trying to get my head around. Take the table. Did you remove a table from the Capitol?
No, I touched a table. I put my hand on a table and they accused me of stealing the table, theft of government property. And they came to me with a plea deal the day before the election saying that if I pled guilty to stealing the table, which carried a maximum sentence of 1 year in prison and a $100,000 fine, that they would drop my trespassing charges.
This is Brandon. You've been on me for years.
That's one story out of 1,500. She touched the table. They accused her of stealing the table and wanted her to make a deal and do a year in prison and pay a $100,000 fine. How many people could do that? Pay a $100,000 fine. It's just, again, the people screaming about this, and I've been listening to NBC and CNN talk about what a disgrace this is, that people who hurt cops, who hit cops, they put on some of those cops, those actors like Michael Fanone. Michael Byrd got a pardon for shooting Ashley Babbitt, a pardon and a $36,000 bonus and a promotion for shooting an unarmed woman. Can you imagine if that happened at a George Floyd protest? A cop shot an unarmed protester in the throat and killed her. You think he would have got a bonus and a promotion? It's just an outrage. And again, the people screaming aren't paying attention, or they don't want to pay attention. That's bad. This is worse. What Joe Biden did is worse. Joe Biden pardoned his family, claimed he had to do it because of unrelenting attacks from the Trump administration, from the incoming administration, unrelenting attacks. I got a question for you. Does anyone know who John Owens is? The networks, none of them even have a photo of John Owens. They tell the story. They say, yeah, he pardoned. It's Joe Biden's brother-in-law. I have never heard an attack of any kind against this guy. I don't know who he is. I've never seen him. He was pardoned preemptively for any crime he may have committed. Why? Because of there's no unrelenting attacks. That's what the Associated Press said. Because of unrelenting attacks against Biden's family members, including his sister and her husband. I've never heard any attack against these people. What he did was immunize them against any prosecution because they're guilty, because they're part of the Biden influence peddling scheme, because they have made millions from hostile foreign countries. And he knows it, and we all know it now. But worse to me, and I'm still trying to understand this. I read the pardon for Milley and Fauci. I got a question. Milley's a despicable character. Obviously, he's pardoned because he did his best to undermine Trump, to hurt Trump, to stop Trump, to get Joe Biden elected. That was his goal. It was pretty obvious. Same with Fauci. They're pardoned for any crime they may have committed. In Fauci's case, from 2014 to today. But we know Anthony Fauci funded the lab that created the virus. We know that. That's an important thing. So obviously, they should continue to investigate. So if a Senate committee or House committee if we found out definitively that the U.S. funded the lab that created the virus that killed 1 million Americans, Fauci can't be prosecuted for that? Why is that partisan? I know the answer, because he helped defeat Trump. But if he actually did that, why would anyone, Democrat, Republican, why would anyone want him to be pardoned, to go free, to not be held accountable?
He should be executed just for what he did to those beagles.
Absolutely. What he did, the animal cruelty. I mean, shutting down the country, hurting children. People died. People OD'd. People lost their homes, their jobs because of this man. And because he helped defeat Trump, he walks free. I got a question. We know Fauci funded the virus, funded the research. We know that. And he lied. And we know he made a fortune. And we know he lied about the vaccine over and over again. We know it. But he can't be prosecuted because he hates Trump. That's it. What if Mark Milley, this is just me spitballing. What if we found out next month they did an investigation into the one of the assassination attempts on Trump, the Ryan Ruth one, the second one? Just work with me here. What if we found out Milley was involved? I'm not saying he was. He probably wasn't. What if we found out that they did something so egregious? We know Milley admitted to contacting his Chinese counterpart behind the back of the president. That's treason. He can't be charged with it. What if we found out he wanted Trump dead? Mark Milley can't be charged with that. The idea of a preemptive pardon is insane. We shouldn't allow it. It should stop now. Tell me this. If you're Don Jr. or Eric Trump or Barron, why shouldn't you take bribes? Why shouldn't you sell access to your father? Why shouldn't you commit any freaking crime you want? because Donald Trump can pardon you preemptively in 4 years. He can pardon you tomorrow. The precedent has been set. The president can pardon anyone preemptively. Joe Biden set the precedent. Why wouldn't a Republican do the same thing? Why wouldn't every president do the same thing? This is so insane, and somehow the media is okay with it because it's Joe Biden, because these people were with them in an attempt to stop Trump. But just consider the consequences. Consider what they could get away with now. What if we find out that Fauci, and I'm not, or Liz Cheney, or any of them, committed really serious offenses, real serious crimes? They can't be prosecuted. I hope Rand Paul in the Senate, and I hope Trump's DOJ continues to investigate and puts them under oath and makes them testify, even if they can't be prosecuted. Because we got a lot of questions, and this can't just be the way we do business now, that presidents just get to pardon anyone they want. Again, 8,000 pardons from Joe Biden, and you're going to squawk about some lady who touched a table getting pardoned? Please. All right, let's get to your favorite clip of the day. Stephen Colbert, Ironhead labeled this death of comedy, and it truly is. That is one of the other things Trump did. Trump has done so many things to just change the whole, culture. He has destroyed liberal comedians. He has made Jimmy Kimmel cry. He has ruined the ladies of The View, who just are not handling this well. But I find this amazing that there's anybody who still stays up late, for a laugh. That's what you used to do with Johnny Carson or Jay Leno before you went to sleep. You wanted a little chuckle, so you tuned into Johnny Carson or Jay Leno or Letterman. How is this funny for anybody? How does anybody watch this and say, yeah, that's entertaining? This guy has a staff, I've said this before, of 75 people. And this is what they came up with on day one of the new administration. You think it would be fertile ground. They would have some real good material with the new Trump term. Trump has said a lot of goofy things, and it's apparently not enough. This is Steve Colbert's idea of comedy. Go ahead.
Down in Washington. So at the last minute, Trump moved his inauguration indoors. Totally understandable. So, Mr. President, it is with the utmost respect that I say, always the big swan, greatest president ever. Feeling a little chewy? You want some hot cocoa with marshmallows? You weather cuck. Now, Trump announced.
God. And then he did a skit where Biden attached a bunch of balloons to the White House and stole the White House. Stole it. Yeah, Joe Biden.
I didn't even see that one. I'm glad I didn't.
I mean, honest to God, we're laughing at you, Stephen. Nobody's laughing with you. You're just kind of a sad, pathetic figure. You're no different from AOC or Liz Warren. You are broken, and we will forever be in debt for Donald Trump for breaking this pathetic, weak, unfunny man. All right. We don't have time to get to the mayor of... Yeah, let's finish with the mayor of Philadelphia. Here's who's running your big cities, big blue cities now. The mayor of Philadelphia is very excited because the Eagles are in the NFC title game against the Commanders, my Commanders. I love this weekend, by the way, because I'm rooting hard for the visitors. I'm rooting hard for the underdogs. I want a Commanders Bills Super Bowl. I'll probably be disappointed, but all decent people root against the Eagles because their fans are just so obnoxious. The worst in the country. They are the worst. And so hopefully the Eagles will go down in flames on Sunday in Philadelphia. But the mayor is pretty excited. Let's watch.
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles! Snowbirds!
I don't think she was even close. What did she say? E-L-G-S? Is that how she spells Eagles?
She spells it.
Do it again. One more time. This is the mayor of Philadelphia trying to lead a charge by spelling Eagles. Not that tough a word. I mean, it's not I mean, Commanders, I could understand if you screwed up Commanders, but this is how she spells Eagles. Go ahead.
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles!
Elgses.
Let's go, birds!
E-L-G-S-E-S, eggs.
Elgses.
Egglses. Let's go, birds. Go, Commanders. Go, Jaden Daniels. This is going to be fun. All right. We will leave it there for today. Day 2, full day 1, day 2 of Trump 2 is in the books, and it was great. It's going to keep going, man. It is. We are just getting warmed up. Cannot wait. But we will leave it there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.